So first off, understand no matter what you try, in the beginning it's gonna suck, because you suck. But you'll get better and you'll suck less as you keep doing this, and eventually you'll suck less so little that you'll actually be good.
Okay, so the first section here we're gonna talk about is the charismatic leader, and or the attractive character. How many of you guys right now, guys and gals, are the attractive character in your business? Oh, most of you guys. How many of you guys, there's somebody else that's kind of like the face of it? Cool, so kind of a little bit of both. All right, so this is a key. Every movement has this, has a charismatic leader, attractive character. There's not any of them that don't. Can you think of one? I can. Apple, it's Steve Jobs. Christianity's got Christ. Like there's every single thing, there's one. And he's very charismatic. But like that's the key essential thing, right? So it's like, okay, now we know that. Like, what do we know about these people? Like, what can we reverse engineer to figure out for ourselves? And the one thing is, the biggest thing as I've been talking about this book and sharing more and more people, I get tons of resistance from people like, well, I'm not expert. I don't, and like there's always that thing, right? And I understand that, like the feeling of inadequacy. Like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm smart enough. I don't know if I don't know about you guys, but I still feel that. Like, I've been so nervous about this. I put so much time and effort because like I'm scared to death to get up. Like, you see me jumping around like a little kid back. I'm so excited. I'm so nervous because like I want to produce for you guys. I don't want any of you guys going like, man, that was a waste of 3 days, right? Like, I have the same inadequacies. Like, I'm nervous. Like, and everyone has that. But like, and this kind of goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the book. Like, for all of us, like, there's a time where we go through this phase, and there's always different phases in life, right? But there's a phase where like you figured out your thing, your craft, and you got excited, you started studying, and you geeked out, and you got better and better and better at it. But there's a point where like it doesn't matter how much better you get, like you can't, like there's a point where you can't keep progressing, right? Like Tony Robbins, if you've been to his event, he talks about like, yeah, I read 700 books in like a year. And he's like, now what? Like I know everything, but now what? And you can't, like you physically, you stop your progression. You cannot move from that point until you help somebody else. The first time I ever saw this that I ever understood it was my senior year. I'd wrestled all through high school. I was a state champ. Senior year, I took second place in the country. And I was like, about to go into college, and I was like, I thought I was like the coolest guy in the world, right? And my coach said, hey, do you want to come coach at a wrestling camp this summer? I was like, that would be so cool. I think they paid like $10 a day. I'm like, dude, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to have almost $100 at the end of this camp. I was really excited. So we go to this camp, and he's like, hey, teach these kids how to do the things you're good at. So I'm okay, so I'm teaching these kids, and I show them, like, this is the boot. Okay, go do it. And they do it. I'm like, crap, none of them did it. I'm like, okay, no, do it like this. And they did it, and like no one could do it. I'm like, dang it. So I'm like, I'm going to do it real quick and watch me. So I did it, and I'm like, what am I doing? I was like, okay, my elbow's here, my hips are here. I'm like, oh, that's why it works. And I find this pattern, right? Just like we're doing now. Like I find the pattern. I'm like, oh, so it only works if my knees here, my hips here, and the pressure's tight here. So I showed the kids, like, okay, you got to, and I show them that, and all of a sudden they get it. And I was like, wow. And then I realized like that's the pattern. And then I'm like, that was happening before. Like I was, because I'd done so many times I was good at it, but I didn't know the reason. So I got into college, I also, like, that summer was huge for me because I learned all the reasons why I was doing things. And I saw the pattern, and I was able to go back and become better and better because I was like, man, if things aren't working, it's because I'm missing one of those 3 or 4 points. And I became a much better wrestler because of it. Same thing in this business. Like there was a time where I was just like, you see those who've done the office tour, like you've seen the library. It's ridiculous. And that's after we threw away an entire dumpster, like probably 4 or 5 feet above the dumpster full of courses when we moved here. So that's like what's left over that made it through the trash. And like I went through a phase where I was just geeking out on everything. Like I just consumed as much as I could. I was implementing, I was doing some stuff and having fun, but it was like, I couldn't keep progressing until like there's so much stuff, I just wanted to share it. And then like, as I started sharing it, that's when I progressed, right? Like, I'm gonna use you guys as a good example. Like, you guys took the stuff I'm sharing, you went and you've changed, like how many people's lives have you guys affected now? And like that is growth for me. Like I can't do what Kaylin and Brandon, I can't do that. I can't do what any of you guys do, right? But the fact that like I can now share this stuff, then you go and you do it and you affect 1 million people, 1 million women lose all this weight, like, holy crap, like that fills me up more than anything that I can do on my own, right? Like there's a point where the only way you can progress is by doing that and taking that leap of faith from like being a student to being an expert. And so it's scary and it freaks me out, but we all have to be willing to take that leap of faith. And I got a quote for you guys from Garrett White, for those who need a little extra pushing and convincing. I actually quoted this in my book, and the publisher's like, you can't say that, it's not proper English. I'm like, it doesn't matter, it's right. Okay, so listen to this is very important.
So first off, understand no matter what you try, in the beginning it's gonna suck, because you suck. But you'll get better and you'll suck less as you keep doing this, and eventually you'll suck less so little that you'll actually be good. But just surrender to the fact that you're going to suck.
All right, can you guys all surrender to the fact you're going to suck for a little bit? Okay. One of the last like Ignite events we did before we kind of closed that program down, I showed people a video of me that's like, wasn't that like 4 years ago? But anyone here for that event? And it showed me, and I was on camera, and I was so scared. I wouldn't make eye contact with the camera, so I'm looking at the ground, and we're trying to do, it was a JV video for one of these products we were promoting, or we were trying to sell. I'm looking at the camera, I'm all nervous, and I'm like talking, and like I wouldn't even dare look at the camera. That's how scared I was. And that was like 4 years ago. And it's funny because like, now people are like, oh, well, you're so good in front of the camera, you're so good on stage. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, it's because I stood up here like an idiot over and over and over and over again. We'll get to the perfect webinar stuff probably tomorrow, but like, I didn't learn how to sell by like reading a book then selling. Like, I got on a stage, I walked up there in front of like a couple hundred people, I did my thing, I sold, and nobody moved. And I was like, oh crap, that was embarrassing. All right, well, let's try again. And I walk back off, and next time I come out, okay, please let someone buy, please let someone buy. Do my thing, and like one dude bought, I'm like, why'd you buy? He's like, because you said this. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll say more of that. And they kept doing it over and over. And I was on the road for 3 years doing like the public speaking circuits 2 or 3 times a month, flying somewhere, speaking over and over and over again to learn how to actually do it, okay? I've been telling most of you guys, like when Periscope first came out, I'm like, you should do Periscope every single day for the rest of your life. And a bunch of you guys started and then stopped, and like the big common theme is like, well, no one's watching me. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's not about the people watching you. It's about you guys, about us learning our voice and understanding that. Like, that's the most important thing. The reason why I'm good on video now is because I've done so many videos over and like thousands of videos. And that's it. Like it's just consistent repetition over and over and over again. But at first you're going to suck. But eventually you'll suck so little you'll actually be good, which is the exciting part. But it comes down to being willing to do it, which is why we're going to be like Facebooking things live from here in the next 3 days, which is going to be super uncomfortable for some of you guys. But you're going to do it, and you're going to talk, and you're going to feel stupid, and you're going to hate it. And some of you guys will have people watch it, some of you guys won't, and it's okay. It doesn't even matter. Okay. I always tell people, like, when I first started my Marketing Your Car podcast, we set up the RSS feed wrong, so we couldn't track stats. So I had no idea how many people were listening until like 3 weeks ago we finally got it fixed. So for 3 years, I had no idea. And I'm so grateful I never knew, because if I would have known, like, wow, there's only 2 people listening, I would have stopped. Okay, now I'm 300 episodes in, and we have this huge following. Like, we finally got the RSS feed figured out, like 3 weeks ago. We're already at like 400,000 listens in like 3 weeks. I'm like, crap, people are listening. But they weren't at first. I kept doing it over and over. In fact, Steven told me, he's like, yeah, the first like 41 episodes of your stuff, like, they weren't that good, man. But about 42 is like when I started actually, like, you gave some good things. I'm like, oh, cool, I don't know. I was just talking in my phone while I was driving because that's what I knew how to do. Okay, so like, don't be worried about it. It's just like, it's consistently doing these things over and over and over again. We had Andrew O'Brien, does our PR stuff, was here last weekend at the Certified Partner event, and then took him to lunch afterwards. And what was cool, like, and this comes back to like creating offers, but all these things, he's just like, yeah, he's like, I just go and I create something and I try to sell it, and nobody buys it, and I create something else. So he's like, he showed me over the last like 6 weeks, he launched like 5 or 6 different programs. He's like, I launched that one, nobody bought, so I just didn't do it. Then I launched this program, nobody bought, so I didn't do it. Then I launched this one, and people went crazy. We sold 100 of them. And I was like, what's the difference? He's like, I just kept making him do things and seeing what people bought. And then like they bought that one. So then we went deep and made a whole bunch of things. And then I tried this one, nobody bought, and this one, nobody bought. But the 5 things I put out there, it's like one thing people bought, so then we went and did more of that. It's the same thing with like this, you being an expert, like doing Facebook Lives or Snapchat, all these different things you're doing, you're putting out there. It's less about like making money right now. It's more about like finding your voice and getting comfortable in that state and being good with yourself. And then as you're putting things out there, you're gonna find out what people actually resonate with. Okay, good example is Anthony when he launched the Biohacking Secrets book. First off, it wasn't working very good, and so we got on a call. I was like, hey, you need to do a Facebook Live a day, every single day, till forever. He's like, all right, man. And then I was like, do you remember I told you, I'm like, do all the weird stuff, like get the lights on your head and like stuff up your nose, and like that's gonna go like crazy viral. And he did, and like nobody cared. But then he did this one, it was like how to biohack your vegetables. And I was like, dude, that's like the stupidest, like put the lights in your nose while you're doing that. But he didn't, and biohacking your vegetables got like 3 or 4 million views. And like, you don't know what people want, so you gotta put out a whole bunch of stuff out there. And he's got like, I don't know, like dozens of videos now that have gone crazy viral, and even more that have failed, but it's like consistency. I think for now, you're pretty dialed in, like you know what people react to and what they don't now. And that's the key, is like just consistently doing it over and over and over again. And being okay feeling stupid when they don't. Because that's the coolest things that nobody knows. Like if you fail, like, yeah. Nobody really knows, which is kind of nice. The only people who really know is yourself. But if you don't tell anybody, then nobody knows. In fact, the very first event I ever did, I was at I joined, Matt Fury had this mastermind program, so I joined it. And the very first call, he was on there, it was so funny. The guy was like, some guy called and was like, I have a question, like I'm in the weightlifting market and I lift weights and like, how do you guys grow my business? And Matt's like, you know what you should do, man? You should put on an event at your house for $5,000 and people will come to you and lift weights in your garage with you. He's like, think people buy that? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, sweet, man. All right, I'll do that. Next guy gets on, hey, so I write articles for a living and I submit them and like, what should I do? And he's like, you know what you should do? You should do an event where you charge $5,000. Have people come to your house, write articles with them and submit them with them. You guys like, you gotta work? Matt's like, yeah. I was like, huh. And then wait, 3 people in a row, he told the exact same advice. And so I'm sitting there like, I'm gonna put on an event for $5,000 in my house and see people do it. So I like that night, send an email out to my list and I was like, there's this event in my house, it's $5,000, it's gonna be amazing. And the next day I wake up, look at my PayPal account, nobody bought. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Well, nobody knows. And then the next day, 2 orders came through. I was like, oh crap, so I made 10 grand. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like that was insane for me. I was like, 2 people bought. And at first I was all excited, like celebrating. And I was like, oh man, if we go to an event and only 2 people are there, I'm like an idiot. I was like, I'm not getting that money back either. So like, I called everyone I knew, like my friends, that's why I like Brent. I called Brent, we just became friends. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this event. Everyone paid $5 grand. Can you come and not tell anybody about it? That'd be so nice. So he came, my friends came, like, everybody I knew came, and I was like, just don't tell those 2 that like you didn't pay because it's gonna be really awkward. So I did my first event that way. And it was super ghetto too. We're in this hotel and like we had the camera set up and there was windows behind it and the windows were shining. The camera guy was like, I can't see anything. So we got duct tape and we were duct taping up like blankets from the hotel bedroom to like cover it. And like, anyway, it was horrible, but it worked and people had a great experience and got me to do my first event. And then from there, anyway, everything kind of started. But anyway, it has to do with just like trying it and just who knows what's gonna work, but being okay with like, it's probably gonna fail. Because at first you're gonna suck. But eventually you're gonna suck so little, it'll actually be good. That's the plan at least.